As a result, the body lost control and fell to the ground with a thud. The plates in his hands all fell to the ground and shattered everywhere. The knife almost stabbed himself. I saw Deng Qiuhui fall awkwardly to the ground. Tang Yu quickly helped him up from the ground. Deng Qiuhui felt utterly disgusted inside, yet still had to pretend to be extremely grateful. "Auntie, you should be more careful given your age. Falling is no joke. You must be exhausted and need to rest well," Tang Yu earnestly reminded. "I studied medicine. I can tell your physical condition. You must not have been eating well during this time. You didn't sleep well, did you? This won't do. Why is your life pressure so great? I can help you. What about your husband and son? They are all dead." With Tang Yu's question, Deng Qiuhui couldn't help but let the tears flow down. "I wish I could stab this bastard to death." Tang Yu handed a tissue to Deng Qiuhui to wipe away her tears, pouring him another cup of hot tea to warm his stomach. Deng Qiuhui wiped her nose fiercely. "My voice is almost gone from crying." He was about to thank after taking a big sip of the hot tea. Then he looked up and asked, "What did you give me to drink?" "Tea, auntie." "This tea tastes wonderful." Deng Qiuhui's expression changed instantly. He quickly got up and left. Tang Yu held onto this poor woman who had lost her son. No matter what was said, she refused to let him go. He could tell from the recent sorrowful cries. This aunt is really in a lot of pain. This kind of pain cannot be disguised. "Auntie, my stomach hurts, and I need to use the bathroom." "First, let auntie use the restroom, okay?" Watching time passed second by second. Deng Qiuhui was also anxious. He still did not dare to forcibly shake off Tang Yu's hand, to avoid exposing one's own strength. "All right, you hurry up and go. We'll drink tea together when you come back." Tang Yu finally let go of this poor aunt. Finally freed, Deng Qiuhui rushed into the bathroom. "Induce vomiting for yourself first." After throwing up, he took out a bottle of antidote and swallowed several pills. Then I sat on the bathroom floor and started to tremble. The corners of my mouth have turned into blue silk. Spent a full half-hour in the bathroom. He finally recovered. The whole person is about to fall apart. With an expression full of resentment, he walked to the mirror and washed his face. "I must kill this Tang kid today. He wouldn't find peace even as a ghost. Tang Yu and Qin Kexin are siblings." I sat in my seat waiting for half an hour. She couldn't wait for the old auntie to return. There's no way. Qin Ming can only call the person in charge. Let him arrange a simple job for him. Then let's raise the salary several times. Let's go. We have rested enough. Let's go soak in a hot spring to relax. King Kexin suggested with a smile. The biggest feature project of Mingming Mountain Villa. It's a natural hot spring. Even the architectural style of the villa. Everything revolves around these hot springs. Coming here without soaking in the hot springs is like coming for nothing. Tang Yu nodded. The three of them got up and walked towards the hot spring house. After taking a bath, Qin Ming stepped out. At that moment, in a corner of the hot spring house, Deng Qiuhui is holding a large bottle in her hand. It was spraying directly onto the floor of the hot spring facility. This bottle contains a special fuel. Using poison won't work. Then let's find another way. For example, burn this kid to death in a big fire. The man dressed up as the villain from the novel. The protagonist's mother came to seek revenge. Unexpectedly, Deng Qiuhui almost poisoned herself instead. To resolve the hatred in my heart, he decided to set a big fire to burn Tang Yu to death. He is holding a large bottle in his hand at this moment. It was spraying directly onto the floor of the hot spring hall. This bottle contains a special fuel. After spraying in some important areas, he then pulled out a lighter and threw it on the ground. The flames rapidly spread along the floor and walls. The interior of the hot spring resort was primarily decorated with wooden finishes. The fire spread incredibly quickly. The internal fire suppression system has already been sabotaged by him. The alarm system is the same. As the fire outside grew stronger, Tang Yu, drowsy in the hot springs, woke up after smelling something burnt. He opened the door and rushed outside to take a look. The corridor was already filled with thick smoke. The smoke made it nearly impossible to open their eyes. Tang Yu quickly grabbed a towel and got it wet. The test fruit must rush out of the body. After rushing out for just 2 steps, he suddenly remembered that Kinkeksen was in the next room. So he turned around and ran back. Kicking the door open with one foot, Tang Yu discovered that Kinkeksen had fainted by the hot spring. He hurried over and lifted Kinkeksen out of the hot spring. A shadow swooped down from the ceiling. A sharp dagger was thrust toward Tang Yu's neck. His movements were silent yet incredibly swift. Tang Yu was momentarily distracted and didn't notice the ambush. But the dagger was only about 2 millimeters away from Tang Yu's skin. No further progress can be made. Tang Yu reached the pinnacle of self-destruction. The defense of the immovable underworld palace has significantly increased again. After blocking this treacherous strike, Tang Yu realized and was about to retaliate. Deng Qiuhui jumped back, creating a distance of 3 meters. "You beast who killed my son! I will cut off your mad head and burn you alive today," Deng Qiuhui shouted with a sharp voice. After hearing him say this, Tang Yu finally understood why he was so angry. So it turns out Lin Fan's mother has come. Tang Yu held Kinkeksen tightly, ignoring everything as she pressed on. If he stays any longer, he won't be able to hold on. The unconscious Kinkeksen is in trouble. Seeing Tang Yu completely ignoring her, she wanted to escape. Deng Qiuhui charged forward again with a dagger. "Today, no matter what, we have to keep this kid." He just rushed to Tang Yu's side. This knife has yet to stab Tang Yu. The body suddenly became uncontrollable. Unexpectedly, it fell to the ground with a thud, before he could sort out what the problem was. Tang Yu expressionlessly stomped down heavily on his chest, stepped on a large depression. Deng Qiuhui spat out a mouthful of blood, fainted on the spot from the injury, after easily dealing with this woman with the fragrance of reversal. Tang Yu first placed Kinkeksen on her back, using the power of Feudo Maya's palace to protect her. Holding onto Deng Qiuhui, he placed it on Kinkeksen's back. It's just like stacking a pagoda. Ensure that Kinkeksen, who is caught in the middle, is absolutely safe. Then he held his breath, rushed into the sea of fire at the fastest speed. Just as I was about to burst through the door, Tang Yu gently shook off the unconscious Deng Qiuhui from her embrace. "Leave this woman in the sea of fire." Just when Qin Ming was about to break down, Tang Yu rushed out of the thick smoke, carrying Kinkeksen on his back. But Tang Yu really didn't have time to pay attention to her right now. He looked around while carrying Kinkeksen on his back. After spotting an ambulance, I quickly rushed over, after removing the depression from Kinkeksen, then began to perform artificial respiration. Place your hand on her heart and perform a steam heart compression. About 3 minutes later, Kinkeksen slowly opened her eyes. Upon waking, I found the surroundings had changed. Tang Yu was bare-chested, kissing himself. I haven't put on my clothes yet. Fortunately, Tang Yu noticed her movements. He quickly let go of her mouth, his eyes wide open. "Don't mess around. I kindly saved you. The hot spring resort just caught fire. You fainted from lack of oxygen. I'll give you artificial respiration to save you." She looked astonished, but seeing Tang Yu's hair all curled up into bunches, "There are several small blisters on my body from the burn." She immediately understood Tang Yu's meaning. Although the fire suppression system inside the hot spring facility, it has been damaged and cannot be used, but the employees' firefighting equipment is still quite complete. More than 10 water guns aimed at the hot spring management. After a while, the fire was successfully extinguished. The recent blaze left the members visiting today looking pale. Complaining in my heart is one thing. No one dared to openly cause trouble. Kin Kexon could guess that these people were definitely unhappy in their hearts. She gathered everyone together and personally apologized to them. While offering free consumption, they also compensated everyone by adding money to their membership cards. To successfully divert everyone's attention, Kin Kexon also revealed the investigation results. She knows without checking that someone must have taken action. After taking over the villa, she came personally to make some adjustments, strengthen safety measures to an outrageous extent. Even after all this, something still went wrong. Moreover, the fire extinguishing and alarm systems have completely failed. If this isn't man-made, then what is it? The man dressed as the villain from the novel just killed the protagonist moments ago. The protagonist's mother was secretly assassinated. Fortunately, I escaped disaster thanks to myself, cultivation, and the skill of the immovable king. At this moment, Tang Yu silently asked herself, "Is the dog system causing trouble again? Someone is messing with me, and I won't remind myself." The system determines that the child without Kai-yun takes action, and the plot poses no threat to the host. No hints and no rewards at all. The system quickly responded. Tang Yu pondered. It really seems to be the case. All right. When will the next child of destiny be born? After the system responded, Tang Yu immediately recalled a scene in a small family in Yandin. A son-in-law is ruthlessly beaten and scolded by his mother-in-law at home. Then he returned to the room, humiliated, and sat on the bed. A certain drum technique began to operate. A surge of true energy rampaged through his body. Immediately, a toxin was expelled from his palm. In an instant, I transformed from an ordinary person into an early inspirer of the Tianzi mirror. He walked out of the door with a blank expression. A Rolls-Royce stopped in front of him. A bald man in a suit got out of the car. He gave a standard bow and called out to him, "Young Master Ikkyu, the Dragon King asked me to take you home." "Home? What kind of home is there? Hasn't he already stopped caring about me?" The son-in-law known as young Master Ikkyu gritted his teeth and said. With a cold snicker, they turned and were about to leave. "Young master, the Dragon King has given instructions. If you are unwilling to return to the Yi family, he asked me to pass this bank card to you. There is a total of 100 billion in the bank card. Right away, it's your birthday. It's the Dragon King compensating your pocket money. He still spent 1 trillion to acquire the Wuja group of Yan Jin. I am currently in charge over there. Feel free to contact me anytime you need anything." The old butler caught up and handed a bank card to Ikkyu. Ikkyu took the bank card with a cold snort and left with big strides. Seeing him in this posture, the old butler couldn't help but marvel that he truly was the grandson of the old Dragon King. Tang Yu estimated that she had been watching for more than 10 minutes. This familiar beginning of a side character's story. It's just too familiar, isn't it? It's really letting this dog thing thrive in the smoke and ash. Became the king of tobacco. How will I have fun then? Thinking about it, Tang Yu decided to take out her phone. I called Lu Junjuo, who was in the smoky haze. Upon learning that Lu Junjuo has already killed, after the 7 wives of the Longhun organization committed suicide, let them send 3 more 9 transformation bombs. Let him break through the bottleneck and ascend to the heavens. In the smoky den of danger, the strength to end one's life is no longer sufficient. Tang Yu then assigned tasks to Lu Junjuo. Keep an eye on a guy named EQ for me in Yanjin. He is the beloved grandson of the old Dragon King. Upon hearing that he is the grandson of the old Dragon King, Lu Junjuo was instantly pumped up with excitement. Tang Shang wants me to take this guy out, or just cut off his hands and feet. Never. He had the strength of someone in the early stages of self-destruction. It is not yet time to kill him. Just leave it to me to handle. Tang Yu quickly persuaded this revenge fanatic. After hanging up the phone, Tang Yu then began to arrange the various matters in Suzhou and Hangzhou. After spending 3 days getting everything done, after changing into a new outfit, I was ready to set off for Yanjin. At the same time, let Chai Ying and Lin Han take good care of the house. Tang Yu just stepped out of the house. He had just bumped into the Wenren Yage. He has come this time. It's because I need to travel for 3 years to improve my martial arts skills. So I came to say goodbye to Tang Yu. After the 2 bid farewell, the scholar hesitated for a moment, biting his lip. He gently hugged Tang Yu again. Tang Yu also took this opportunity. He stuffed 3 Xueki fruits into his bag. These are the last 3 Xueki fruits on him. After a wave of overwhelming troops, he still has 7 left. Then someone sent 4 to Wang Defa. He said after research that this thing can be planted on a farm. In this way, the large-scale mass production of Xuenkiguo is not far away. Tang Yu had just left. A sneaky figure slipped into the Tang family. Several bodyguards of the emperor committed suicide along the way. No one noticed his arrival until he was close to Tang Yu's bedroom. Lin Han and Chai Ying were positioned on the left and right, respectively. They surrounded that sneaky guy. They finally realized. It turns out to be the Killer Queen, the man dressed up as the villain from the novel, after defeating monsters in Suzhou and Hangzhou. So I decided to switch to a different map to grind rewards in Yanjing. Unexpectedly, he had just left. The Queen's assassin has come knocking. Chai Ying's hands are itching to do something. He and Lin Han now possess the strength of the peak of the Emperor's self-destruction. Dealing with this guide isn't difficult at all. The Queen frowned. I didn't expect the Tang family to have so many experts. After being severely dealt with by Tang Yu last time, going back to seclude myself for a while. Unexpectedly, I successfully broke through to the early stage of the Emperor's self-destruction. The purpose of coming this time is said to be an assassination. I actually want to find that guy and deal with him. After learning that Tang Yu is no longer around, he let out a cold snort. Turning around, they transformed into a fleeting shadow and quickly fled. Chai Ying could only quickly send a message to Tang Yu. After seeing the news, Tang Yu also had a face full of disbelief. He has a premonition. This guy will most likely follow to Yanjing to continue searching for him. After the plane arrives in Yanjing, Lu Junjuo is already waiting at the airport. He has a restrained aura, looks just like an ordinary person. The true energy within the gas surged like the endlessly flowing Yangtze River. It is precisely stepping into the symbol of self-destruction. Tang Yu smiles and walked out of the airport with him. After getting in the car, I'd asked, "By the way, how's that guy named EQ doing?" Didn't dare to get too close. His daily activities mainly consist of doing laundry and cooking at home. The reputation isn't very good, being called a soft rice king. This is the information about the Lin family. Tang Xiao, please take a look at this. Tang Yu flipped through. The above are detailed records about the Lin family. The Lin family was once considered a somewhat well-known third-rate family in Yanjing, but these years have seen a severe decline. In Yanjing, this den of dragons and tigers. To become a third-rate family, there is a strict requirement. That means the family assets must exceed 300 billion. Over 20 years ago, the Lin family reached their peak at this goal. But over the years, their family business has been doing worse and worse. The assets have already shrunk by more than half. The current market value is roughly around 60 to 70 billion. Yi Qiu's wife, Lin Huixi, is a well-known beauty in Yanjing. In the end, no one expected that 5 years ago she would marry the unremarkable Yi Qiu. Tang Yu had been resting at the hotel until it was almost dark. Just left the hotel on time to go to the Lin family. Today is the 70th birthday of the Lin family patriarch, according to the spoiler from the dog system plot. At today's birthday party, Yi Qiu, who has regained his strength and received secret support from the old Dragon King, aims to make a name for himself. Of course, according to the usual characteristics of the Zhuizhu genre, her attempt to show off today was definitely not very successful. Only in this way, to lay the groundwork for future grandstanding. Tang Yu felt a dark joy in her heart after watching the plot. By the time we arrived at the Lin family's place, a middle-aged man has been waiting for Tang Yu here. This person is Zhu Ganghao, the general manager of Dayu Real Estate. Dayu Real Estate is one of the Tang family's core businesses. The market value is around 200 billion. They have developed several projects in Yanjing, and they all did quite well. Learning that Tang Xiao was coming to Yanjing, Zhu Ganghao was quite ecstatic. As a member of the Tang family management group, always suffering from being far away in Yanjing, unable to pledge loyalty to Tang Xiao, today the opportunity has finally come. Don't expose my identity after we go in. Just say I am your nephew. I mainly came today to watch the play. Tang Yu has become somewhat alert. I gave Zhu Ganghao a heads up. Zhu Ganghao smiled knowingly. Everything is understood without words. Today, many guests have come to celebrate Old Master Lin's 70th birthday. After walking in, Tang Yu's gaze swept around, surveying the bodies. It quickly fell onto a young man's body. The young man was dressed plainly, stood out awkwardly among the many guests, more like a mediocre worker here to do a job. And this is precisely the night of the Lin family's visit during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Many people saw him afterward, a face full of unmasked sarcasm. At this moment, Yi Qiu is mocked by everyone. Biting down hard on his teeth, he said nothing. Yi Qiu's wife Lin Huixi sighed. She is publicly known as Yi Qiu's wife, but in reality, the two did not obtain a marriage certificate. Even after 5 years have passed, they have not experienced intimate military movements. Not even a finger was touched. Yi Qiu sleeps in the storage room at the Lin family. The two were able to come together back then. It's not that he thinks highly of Yi Qiu, but the matriarch of the Lin family, old Lady Lin, was still alive at that time. He encountered Yi Qiu, who had fallen to the streets after suddenly blooming. Let him come to the Lin family as a live-in son-in-law. He speaks with authority at home. Lin Huixi listens to him the most. This is how it all happened so ambiguously. Even before her death, old Lady Lin insisted that he must not get a divorce. Otherwise, he won't rest in peace. So over these 5 years, even under immense pressure, he never mentioned the word divorce. The man dressed as the villain from the novel, The main task is to defeat the protagonist and survive until the end. After finishing the map of Seoju and Hangzhou, arrived in Yanjing to grind for rewards. Unexpectedly, EQ concealed her identity. He turned himself into a soft rice man. This made him unwelcome both inside and out. Even the marriage with Lin Hangxi was merely a facade. Tang Yu overheard the internal conversation of their family. Can't help but laugh wildly in my heart. Isn't this person deserving of criticism? Being a son-in-law is just being a son-in-law. Must rely on living off someone at home. If you go out to find a job and do something proper, they wouldn't look down on me like this. It's all gone so badly. Still putting on airs and thinking highly of oneself. Pity Lin Huangxi, such a beautiful woman. Capable, attractive, and charismatic. Not being overly filial. Where do I need to bear your anchor? Tang Yu silently started to criticize. Lin Huangxi, feeling troubled, suddenly heard these few words. She widened her beautiful eyes and looked around. The reason he looks down on EQ. It is precisely because there is something wrong with his thinking. There is a sense of pride in their bones. I'd rather stay at home and be a kept man, not willing to go out and see others' expressions at work. After taking a look around, he couldn't find out who was speaking, and it seems like no one else heard it. So he felt it was time for him to change his perspective. After circling around EQ's family of 4, Tang Yu eventually found an opportunity, stole the birthday gifts prepared by their family. He laughed and ran into the bathroom, closing the door behind him. Opened the gift box. Inside, there is a purple ginseng. This purple dish is of excellent quality. It is a rare and exceptional treasure. Its value is at least 160 million. According to the original plot. Today, Lin Huaxi's family is celebrating a happy birthday for Old Man Lin. They made a deliberate decision despite their financial difficulties. Took out 5 million to buy a jade Buddha. But EQ wanted to show off. They replaced the jade Buddha. Change into this exquisite snow cuisine as a gift for the birthday banquet. It's all for today to make a stunning debut. Tang Yu smiled darkly. Take a tiny straw and poke it into this purple dish. After extracting the essence of the medicine completely, Zaikin seems to be slightly sunken in. This left Tang Yu a bit stunned. There's no way. Tang Yu could only produce an unopened syringe. He took out the laxative he had carelessly kept on him. Mix the laxative with water and add it to the purple dish. Then Zikin recovered again. Put the purple meal back in the box. He hurriedly left the bathroom. Run over and put things back in their original place. When the time comes, the birthday banquet for Old Master Lin officially begins. After he finished his polite remarks, everyone began to go up one by one to give gifts. Congratulations to the elder. When it was their turn to give gifts, Tang Yu smiled again. The jade Buddha in the box has been replaced with a purple meal. No one will believe it when it comes out later. The Lin family lost face once again. In the end, the purple meal was not delivered. Take it back and make soup. Eat it all by yourself. As Tang Yu's inner voice echoed once more, Lin Huangxi trembles slightly in the suburban area. Looked around. When he was in a daze, his father has already walked up holding a box containing the jade Buddha. Lin Shengxi handed the gift to Old Master Lin with a smile. Old Master Lin laughed happily. Although it was because of EQ, this good-for-nothing. He has become increasingly dissatisfied with the second family's situation over the past few years. Even the family's dividends to the second son's household are pitifully small. But today, their heartfelt gesture still moved him greatly. Then he opened the box and took a glance. Only then did I realize there was no jade Buddha inside. It's just a purple ginseng sitting there. I don't know whether it's true or not." Old Master Lin's cheerful expression instantly darkened. Lin Shanxi quickly looked up. Instantly terrified, my soul felt like it had left my body. Old Master Lin trembled with anger. The second son's family usually brings shame to the Lin family, and that's just how it is. Today I celebrate my 70th birthday alone. They won't stop either. Lin Shanxi has a timid personality. Just as he was about to find an excuse, standing at the back, Yiqiu stepped forward and spoke loudly. "Grandpa, this is the grand birthday gift I prepared for you. A rare purple banquet that has lasted for 200 years. You need at least 60 million on the market to buy it." Lin Huexi finally understood the meaning of the few words he had just heard. The gaze began to grow more complicated. As EQ shouted these words, the guests present all had slightly strained expressions. Then he burst into laughter. The man dressed like the villain from the novel. But it turns out the new male lead is actually a comedian. EQ aimed to shine at old Master Lin's birthday banquet. Secretly swapped the Jade Buddha in their gift box for a purple dining set. Unexpectedly, this action was met with laughter from everyone present. This only further infuriated old Master Lin. Fortunately, at this moment, Lin Huangxi reacted. Immediately went to search for the Jade Buddha. Then he took out the Jade Buddha and presented it to his grandfather. Seeing Lin Huangxi deliver the gift, old Master Lin took the gift and let out a heavy sigh. "Wave goodbye. Thank you for your kind gesture. Go down first. Other guests still need to give gifts." Lin Huangxi's family quickly retreated. EQ also couldn't be bothered to say much more. Simply put away the purple dishes. Tang Yu laughed until his stomach hurt after watching the entire show. "Take out your purple breakfast set. There's no way to communicate with my family. Must keep it hidden. Bring things to the worst situation." Thought they were self-righteous victims. "If I remember correctly, this thing will be taken back and wrapped in soup later." The mother-in-law's family thought it was a radish they didn't eat. This guy consumed a whole golden light by himself. Then the mother-in-law's friend came to visit and discovered it. She can pretend to be a big deal again. Lin Huangxi, with a complex expression, heard the inner voice roar again. Completely shocked. This strange sound seemed to know everything. Is there a guardian spirit in the darkness? Telling myself these things in the dark, to help myself see Yiqiu's true face. "It's time for us to give gifts." Zhu Gang smiled and reminded Tang Yu. Tang Yu responded and got up. Zhu Gang and Hao brought the prepared gifts over. According to Tang Yu's instructions, Zhu Gang prepared a jade pendant worth around 15 million. It can be considered a significant gift. Old Master Lin received a great gift and was naturally beaming with joy, and thanked the two of them profusely. Then he waved at Lin Huangxi and called out, "Huangxi, come here for a moment." Suddenly called out by my grandfather. Lin Huangxi was instantly stunned. "What are you still dawdling for? Your grandfather is calling you over. Hurry up and go. I will definitely introduce you to General Manager Zhu's credentials. This young man is very handsome, much better than that useless Yiqiu." Her mother, Hu Chunkai, quickly nudged her daughter, excitedly saying. Yiqiu's face turned ashen in an instant. A cold gaze locked onto Tang Yu, due to the reason of being married for 5 years. "Let me introduce you to a young talent. This is Tang Yu, the nephew of General Zhu. You are all young people. You need to interact more, you know." Old Master Lin introduced with a smile. His relationship with Zhu Ganghao isn't very good. After all, they may not think highly of the Lin family. Today I suddenly brought everyone to attend my birthday banquet. He guessed it must be for this nephew. The goal is my own granddaughter. Lin Huangxi awkwardly extended his hand to shake with Tang Yu. I feel somewhat repulsed. No matter what. I have been married for 5 years now. This is somewhat difficult for him to accept due to his traditional mindset. Tang Yu quickly shook hands with him and then withdrew his hand, saying, "I am a sugarfish." After hearing the sound of the candy fish, Lin Huangxi always felt a hint of familiarity. Today I was infuriated by Yiqiu. Lin Lei has already gone all out. Push them together vigorously. Tang Yu quickly called out to the old man. Almost spat blood in my heart. He came to Yanjing this time to secretly set a trap for Yiqiu. I didn't expect to confront this old thing head-on right away. Then he said seriously, "Today I came by to wish you a happy birthday." Miss Lin doesn't need to misunderstand either. A gentleman appreciates beauty and acquires it through proper means. How can one fall for another's wife? Lin Huangxi's expression softened considerably. Instead, I felt a bit more fondness for this man. EQ just glared at Tang Yu with a sullen expression. This guy talks a big game. Intuition told him that this person was not ordinary. After noticing the gaze cast by EQ, Tang Yu also has some headaches. I shouldn't have gone up to congratulate that old guy on his birthday. This birthday celebration, it also affected my own plans. This old guy too, eating too much and feeling stuffed. Always wanting to control my granddaughter's destiny. Who someone wants to marry is their own business. Pretending to care for him, it's still for one's own face and interests. After hearing this voice again, Lin Huangxi gently bit her lip. The gaze became warm. A person became the main villain in a novel, because the protagonist can hear my inner voice. The female protagonist regarded him as a guardian deity. The Lin family lost face at Old Master Lin's birthday banquet. Upon returning home, I constantly confronted Yiqiu. Usually, at this time, Lin Huangxi would come out to help smooth things over for me. At this moment, he sat on the sofa with a cold expression. Yiqiu smiled and approached to ask, "Huangxi, didn't you eat enough? Shall I go cook for you?" Lin Huangxi originally wanted to order takeout. I just recalled the words I heard from the guardian spirit. He nodded. After preparing 3 dishes and a soup, Yiqiu placed it on the table. Also helped a few people serve their meals. Yiqiu remained silent, pouring purple rib soup into one's own bowl with a spoon. Lin Huangxi observes everything with cold indifference. Deep down, I felt both shocked and disappointed. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. An elegantly dressed middle-aged woman walked in from outside. As soon as she walked in, she smelled a familiar scent. Liu Shufan sniffed after. The gaze finally locked onto the bowl of purple rib soup on the table. "Oh my God, your family has struck it rich, using such good purple rice to make rib soup." At this moment, upon hearing Liu Shufan's words, Yiqiu's lips curled up, giving a sense of triumph. She has been waiting for this moment. Sure enough, Lin Shengxi and Hu Chankai were both stunned upon learning the situation. Tears of heartache are about to fall. Hastily picked up the bowl and began licking the bottom. Unfortunately, the bowl is empty, not even a drop of soup left. Make Yiqiu drink it all. Yiqiu scoffed inwardly. Just as she was about to get up to wash the dishes in the kitchen, suddenly a series of loud cracks erupted uncontrollably. A foul smell spread out. The expressions of several people in the room changed drastically. At this moment, There was a large yellow stain clearly visible on Yikiu's pants. The area continues to expand. A strong, foul odor spread out. Yikiu was truly about to vomit blood at this moment. After cursing inwardly, she left quietly. Then she left. The storm within intensified even more. Liu Shufen laughed so hard her stomach hurt. Holding their stomach, they quickly ran outside. Hu Keichun suddenly realized something, hastily caught up with her and reminded her as they walked outside. Shufen, we are old friends for many years. Don't tell anyone about today's events. When the sisters beg you. Liu Shufen readily agreed. The whole person was laughing so hard they could barely stand it. After leaving the Lin family, Liu Shufen immediately called her best friend, vividly describing the scene just now. The literary talent was brought to its peak, under this woman's incessant chatter. Soon, this matter spread throughout the entire Yanjing. It is said that after the cheerful Lin Lei learned of this, angry enough to have a sudden spike in blood pressure and faint. At this moment, Zhu Ganghao is showing Tang Yu the villa. This community is a development by their company. I specifically reserved a few well-located, beautifully renovated villas. After arranging accommodation and transportation, Zhu Ganghao smiled slightly. He greeted and left the villa, excitedly rubbing their hands as they stepped outside. Tang Xiao prefers staying in a villa instead of a hotel. It's clear that I need to stay in Yanjing for a while. This is a great opportunity for him to make his mark, not to mention anything else. It's not an exaggeration to say that helping Tang Xiao win over the famous beauty from the Lin family is warranted. At this moment, Tang Yu, who was staying in the villa, suddenly I sneezed. He collapsed onto the sofa. So what about the rewards from the system? The system's voice immediately sounded. The host successfully navigated through the storyline. Reward for cultivation improvement. This reward is quite straightforward. Tang Yu quickly sensed a change in the Kai within her body. This time, he broke through to the early stage of the Tianzi mirror. It has also increased quite a bit, stabilized the boundaries completely. Just when Tang Yu was feeling joyful, the surrounding space suddenly changed. Once again, we have returned to the divine tree space. The aura of the divine tree feels increasingly powerful. But what puzzled Tang Yu was, a swing is tied to a branch of the sacred tree. Looking closely at Tang Yu, the girl swung hard from the swing. Drifting in front of Tang Yu, she leaned in close to Tang Yu and flaunted with all her might. Then the eye sparkled and shouted, "Do you?" Tang Yu was taken aback. Only then did she realize she was calling her own name. After close contact, Tang Yu felt the aura around her. Clearly, the divine tree within me cannot escape. The man dressed like the villain from the novel. But I found a girl had appeared in my divine tree space. The girl sat on Tang Yu's shoulder, gently tugged at her ear. The daub of heaven rewards you with strength. Don't fall for her trick and go after that guy who spits nonsense. Otherwise it will bring greater trouble. Tang Yu nodded. She is indeed being cautious and on guard with the dog system now, to avoid digging a pit for oneself with this cursed thing. But I think even though we can't kill that guy, but I can do other bad things. Isn't her wife quite beautiful? As a wife, I will support her, if there are no worries. As long as Yu wins her over, we can earn rewards. Much better than what the heavens gave to dogs. She smiled mischievously and pointed. A snow-white fruit, the size of a watermelon, grew on the branches of the divine tree. Tang Yu looked at the snow-white fruit with sparkling eyes. The reward from the divine tree is on a different level than what the system offers. The tree spirit girl grinned wickedly and encouraged. But dealing with a villain like Cao is not that easy. Why not give me something useful first?" Tang Yu smiled slyly and set her sights on the divine tree again. The divine tree girl jumped down and slapped Tang Yu on the backside. He was kicked out of his own space. She crossed her arms and huffed. "I gave this guy the power of rebirth myself. He even helped her deliberately disguise as a freshman. It's just to make it easier for her to pick up girls." Tang Yu suddenly opened her eyes, realizing I had returned to the villa. "I recall what the girl in the woods just told me." Tang Yu felt a bit worried in her heart again. According to the character setting, Lin Huangxi is a traditional and conservative melodramatic character. Grandma's last will was too important to her. If you forcefully go up and lick it, that's definitely not going to happen. Tang Yu sighed as she walked to the balcony. Then she noticed on the balcony of the neighboring villa, sitting next to a beautiful woman. "Oh, isn't this Jai lad? How come Mingju didn't come here with you?" "I came to Yanjing to see my grandmother." Yang Jilan also didn't expect such a coincidence. "There's no time like the present. It's rare for us to meet. Let's just get it done." Tang Yu rubbed his hands together and chuckled darkly. She was just feeling bored. "It's been a while since I've helped this guy with his treatment. Yang Jilan is used to wearing a robe at home. It will give her a very relaxing feeling." After she opened the door for Tang Yu glanced at her and smiled. "Wearing a robe makes it easier to get things done. Yang Jilan rarely curses." She raised her hand and struck. Tang Yu could only let out a sigh. "They have good intentions. If I don't flirt with you, your state of mind has quickly returned. But forget it. The heart of a healer. She doesn't understand me." I don't blame her, hearing this guy's inner voice. Yang Jilan is now somewhat skeptical. However, her expression softened a bit. After Tang Yu finished treating her last time, the effect has indeed improved quite a bit. At least the allergy problem has been resolved. It's just been a while since the treatment. She felt her body slowly returning to how it used to be. After the cupping therapy arrives, Tang Yu raised her chin and smiled. "Let's go. Come with me into the house." After 20 minutes of massage, Tang Yu was resting upstairs. At that moment, the sound of a car horn echoed from downstairs. The electronic doorbell rang. Tang Yu thought it was Yang Jilan who ordered takeout or something. Running down, I discovered it was a young man in a suit. "Cousin, it's me." The young man smiled and shouted at the electronic doorbell. After carefully observing the young man's face, Tang Yu cursed silently in her heart. What a small world for enemies. Isn't that Han Mingxuan, that unlucky guy? This guy previously got himself thoroughly humiliated in Seju and Hangzhou. At that time, Tang Yu deliberately pretended to be Yi Chen's subordinate. "My name is Tang Beixuan." Then they forced their family's bodyguard to break this kid's hand. At that time, he was originally thinking of digging a pit for Yi Chen. Let him go to Yanjing and be unlucky. Now Yi Chen is dead. This black pot cannot be carried alone. But he kept calling her cousin. Tang Yu suddenly remembered the relationship between the Yang family and the Han family of Yanjing. With a quick turn of the eye, Tang Yu immediately had an idea. Open the villa's main gate to let Han Mingxuan in. The man dressed like the villain from a novel. Just finished treating Yang Jilin for her obsession with handsome men. I ran into Han Mingxuan, whom I had previously dealt with severely in Seju and Hangzhou, in order to turn enemies into friends, and pulled him to his side. Tang Yu decided to get something done, opened the villa's front gate and let him in. Then, taking advantage of the situation, he seized him by the neck. He was dragged onto the sofa. A knife was casually pressed against his neck. and Mingxuan immediately felt a tightening sensation. He also recognized Tang Yu, just when this kid was about to reach his limit. Tang Yu decisively activated the Eye of Soul Shooting. Han Mingxuan soon fell into a daze. From now on, we are good brothers. I told you to go south, but you dared not go north. Tang Yu begins to brainwash Han Mingxuan. After the brainwashing session ended, Han Mingxuan finally regained consciousness. He widened his eyes and stood up in surprise upon seeing Tang Yu. "Oh my goodness, isn't this a bit much, brother?" Han Mingxuan took out a box of cigarette butts and handed it to Tang Yu. The two sat on the sofa and began to boast. The Han family is quite powerful in the world of smoke essence. Only those with real skills can become part of a top-tier family, able to win Han Mingxuan over to his side. It can indeed be quite helpful. The two talked for a while. Tang Yu suddenly received the system plot preview. After a brief glance at the plot, Tang Yu sent Han Mingxuan away, preparing to go home for the next part of the story and earn rewards. Accompanied by a team from Wuji Group, there has been a major overhaul in the senior management. Currently, the head of the Wuji Group is Yi Buyu. He was the old butler who was previously responsible for picking up Yi Qiu and taking him home. He is also the trusted aide of the old Dragon King. This time, we couldn't bring young Master Yi Qiu back to the Yi family. He wasn't in a good mood. At that moment, he suddenly received a message. It was sent by the spies from the Yi family. Yi Xiao actually pooped on himself. He found it hard to believe. Just when he felt incredibly awkward, the door to the office was pushed open. Yi Qiu walked in with a blank expression. "Yi Xiao, you finally decided to come. Is there something you want to instruct? Have someone secretly suppressed the Liu family from me. In 3 days, I want to see the Liu family go bankrupt. Make Liu Shufen wish she were dead." Yi Qiu looked gloomily at Ling Dao with pity. Yebu Yu quickly wrote it down. Then he pulled out a document from the drawer, respectfully handed it to Yi Qiu. "Yi Xiao, this is a document that the old Dragon King asked me to investigate. If Yi Xiao wants to rise quickly, we need the help of these families." Yi Qiu took the documents and started reading. These materials are about some prominent families in Yanjing. They have no direct hatred towards the family. After glancing a few times, the gaze was first fixed on the Liu family. This Liu family, it's not Liu Shufen's little family, but rather the Liu family, a top-tier family in Yanjing. The Yanqing family had a clear hierarchy. A top-tier family needs to have 20 trillion in assets. Only by having talent can one join a top-tier family club. Yi Qiu finished reviewing the materials. Looking at the beautiful woman in he showed an expression of admiration. This beautiful woman is Liu Ruyan, the eldest daughter of the Liu family. She is a beauty recognized in Yanqing. What intrigued her even more was, Liu Ryan was with another prominent family last year. A young nobleman got married. What one wouldn't expect is, on the day of the wedding, her husband fell down the stairs and died. If I could win over Liu Ryan, Liu family will naturally become one of her forces. At this moment, EQ already had a plan in mind. A luxurious antique shop in Panjiayuan. EQ rode over on a small electric scooter, parked the car at the entrance. Compared to the other luxury cars parked in the lot, her little electric scooter really looks a bit shabby. Even the security guard at the entrance shook his head after seeing it. Another security guard walked over and patted her shoulder. He laughed heartily. "Do you not know who this will be? This is the most famous soft rice king of Yanjing. I heard that they even stretched the poop up recently." I'm dying of laughter. EQ glared at the two of them fiercely, parked the car in the corner. She walked into the antique shop with a blank expression. Just wait a moment before coming out again. She dares to bet. The two security guards will kneel on the ground and beg her for forgiveness. Ten Yu, standing at a distance, couldn't help but burst into laughter. According to the system spoiler, Ikkyu came to the antique shop to show off, after she successfully earned the respect of the Liu family's young lady. The two security guards who mocked her are in for bad luck. I'll make sure you can't keep up the act later. Let's see how you continue to embarrass yourself. Tang Yu laughed twice. I opened the front camera on my phone and took a look. At this moment, she has disguised herself as a man around 30 years old. I couldn't recognize it was her at all. After confirming the identity and hiding well, Tang Yu then walked into the antique shop, the man dressed like the villain from the novel, to gather together for rewards. The disguise follows the protagonist into the antique shop, according to the plot leaked by the system today. In the antique shop, Ikkyu will meet Liu Ruyan, the eldest daughter of the Liu family, and helped her solve a big problem, winning her favor. Liu Ryan and the Liu family behind her were laid the groundwork for acceptance. This is also the usual pattern of sequel stories. Only the Lin family, who took in Ikkyu, thinks he is useless. Apart from that, all the prominent families are completely in awe of Ikkyu, following his every command. But the Lin family just can't see it no matter what, and desperately looking to make trouble for Ikkyu. Then Ikkyu and these prominent families kept slapping him in the face. After realizing it in the end, after losing everything, I start to beg Ikkyu again. Based on the information provided by the old butler, he knew Liu Ryan would come to the store today to take care of her most genuine Zioiran. This was carved by her father over 3 months. Therefore, Liu Ryan cherishes this gift especially. For Ikkyu, this is the best opportunity to take action. Just seize this opportunity. Let Liu Ruyan develop a fondness for herself. Next, it will be an easy task to win her over. After waiting for a while, a stunningly beautiful woman walked into the store. The woman had a pair of bright, captivating eyes. The sensual lips are adorned with bright red lipstick. The dress she is wearing, her slender and enchanting figure is outlined. Liu Ryan walked into the shop holding a box, shouted at a middle-aged man, "Uncle Liu, help me take care of Yuran." The middle-aged man referred to as Uncle Liu by her. He is the owner of this antique shop. Liu Ruyan has arrived. She hurriedly approached and respectfully called out. Liu Ryan smiled and nodded. "Hand the box in your hand to Uncle Liu." Uncle Liu just held the box. Suddenly, my hand felt like it lost all sensation. The box fell from her hands. The box fell to the ground with a thud. Both she and Liu Ryan turned pale with fright. Liu Ryan quickly picked up the box and took a glance. The layer of nurturing within the box that she treasured immensely. It actually broke into 2 halves. Her eyes turned red, and tears instantly began to fall in large drops. Uncle Liu was so frightened that he lost his senses. How could she not know this is the beloved treasure of the young lady? Liu Ryan glanced at her and couldn't even be bothered to feel angry. The urgent task is to quickly fix the things. I went to find Gu Lao. Uncle Liu felt deeply frustrated in his heart. I wish I could give myself a few hard slaps. Today a huge mess has been made. She knew she definitely wouldn't be able to stay in the shop anymore. The Gu elder she mentioned is the seasoned expert Gu Yunking who oversees the shop. She is a master of the highest caliber in Panjiayuan and the entire antique world. Expert in antiques from various dynasties. And repairing antiques is truly exceptional. Seeing these people in a panic afterward, EQ's lips curled into a smile, calmly put the hand back into the pocket. Tang Yu, watching the show from behind, curled his lips in disdain. Everything is within view. The middle-aged man just grabbed the box and threw it on the ground. All of this is the masterpiece of EQ. This guy is holding a grain of rice in his hand. She shot the rice out. Hit the middle-aged man's hand with a needle, causing the other person's arm to briefly go numb. They couldn't hold onto the box. Very soon, an old man walked down from upstairs. Ku Yunking took the box and examined it carefully for a few moments. Furrowing her brows, she said, "That fall was quite severe. Fulao, can you fix it?" "As long as it's fixed, money is not a problem," Liu Ruyan asked with red eyes. "Such a level of trauma, the difficulty of the repair is quite high. But for me, it's not a big problem. I'll do my best." Gu Yunking waved his hand and smiled. At times like this, compared to money, making sure the young lady owes someone a favor is the most important thing. "Then it will be hard work for you." Liu Ruyan bit her lip, looking pitiful. This caused a flicker of carnal desire in Yiqiu's eyes. The reason she chose to target the Liu family first. What attracted me the most was the woman's appearance. Indeed, it is a rare treasure. But compared to capturing Liu Ruyan, she actually longs for a woman far away in Mingzhu. EQ thought to himself, "My feelings suddenly became a bit complicated." The man dressed as the villain from the novel. After watching the system's preview for the next episode, then she followed the male lead to the antique shop. EQ wanted to put on a good show in front of everyone today. By the way, capture Liu Jia's young lady, Liu Ruyan. It allows the store manager to, shattering Liu Ruyan's little nurturing heart. The person in charge had no choice but to call in the restoration expert, Zhu Yunqing. Meanwhile, I brought over the materials that Gu Yunqing needed. After mixing these more than 10 kinds of materials one by one, Gu Yunqing produced a bottle of light yellow liquid. This is made using their family's traditional recipe, specially formulated repair fluid. It is quite effective in restoring antiques. Seeing Gu Yunqing wanting to restore antiques, the customers in the store began to discuss among themselves. Listening to these familiar lines, Teng Yu secretly laughed to herself. "Next, it's time for Yu Yiqiu to draw hatred. Your next sentence is, 'Old man, I advise you not to do this. Otherwise, the antique won't be repaired properly. You might miss the best rescue period.'" Teng Yu secretly complained in her heart. Liu Ruyan in a bad mood. Suddenly, a series of sounds rang out beside my ear. He looked around with a puzzled expression. "Old man, I advise you not to do this. Otherwise, the antique won't be repaired well. We might miss the best time for rescue." As expected, at that moment, EQ walked over to Gu Yunqing and reminded him quietly. After hearing EQ repeat this sentence again, Liu Ruyan stared at EQ, somewhat surprised. After hearing what EQ said, Gu Yunqing paused and looked up at EQ. Everyone's attention was drawn to EQ. After discovering EQ, a group of people started cursing again. Gu Yunqing had also heard of the nickname Yajing Soft Rice King, but he felt that a man could be so thick-skinned. Being able to enjoy a life of comfort is indeed a skill. Therefore, there was no mockery towards EQ. This young friend seems to be quite an expert. Then I would like to ask you for advice. Why do you think I can't fix it? Your repair liquid really works well, but its acidity is a bit too strong. It can also be used to repair porcelain. If it's about repairing jade artifacts, then it wouldn't be suitable. Moreover, this jade person's material is Dushan jade. This type of jade requires a specific repair solution. As he spoke, the fingers flicked slightly. A drop of liquid was quickly shot into the bottle of healing solution. "It's still your damn dog. You really came up with that." Deliberately speaking to draw everyone's attention and then striking secretly. "The repair fluid didn't have any issues to begin with. You just popped a drop of vinegar in there. How the hell can this be fixed?" Tang Yu silently started to complain again behind. After hearing Tang Yu's heartfelt voice again, Liu Ru Yan looked around again. No one was found to be speaking. Make it even harder for him to bear in his heart. Where does this sound come from? But compared to the source of the sound, he cares more about the content. This voice is clearly talking about the man who came out to stir up trouble. Then Liu Ru Yan's gaze fell on Yi Qiu. He wants to see what it's all about. After being lectured by Yi Qiu, Gu Yunqing was filled with anger. It's the most embarrassing to flaunt ignorance. Yi Qiu suppressed his anger and spoke in a calm tone. "Since you think I don't understand, then give it a try. Don't blame me for not warning you." Gu Yunqing scoffed with disdain. Holding the repair fluid, the jade figure broken into two pieces. "Put them together and start fixing." As the top restoration master in the industry, under his feet, a jade figure broken in two along with some small fragments, quickly pieced together. After applying the repair liquid, he used a professional hair dryer to control the temperature and began to blow dry. Let the repair liquid take effect quickly. After 10 minutes pass, this jade figure has been fully restored. Restore to the original shape. After seeing this, everyone was astonished. The passers-by began to play their role in setting the atmosphere again, flattering Gu Yunqing. Next, something is about to happen. Until Gu Yunqing messes things up, Yi Qiu should leave now. After Liu Ryan opened her mouth to ask him for help. This guy is just trying to show off on purpose. Tang Yu, watching from the side, couldn't help but chuckle darkly to herself. After hearing Tang Yu's heartfelt voice once again, Liu Ryan quickly looked at the jade figure in Gu Yunqing's hand. Gu Yunqing gently shook the restored jade figure in his hand. The proof that the jade figure has been fully restored is complete. He swayed a couple of times before the repaired jade figure broke into two pieces again and fell onto the table. The man dressed up as the villain from the novel. But I found that the current male lead is simply a second-generation Yi Chen, willing to use any means to achieve the goal. Drip vinegar into Gu Yunqing's repair solution. He messed up his repair work. The repaired jade figure broke in two again, and it shattered even more violently. After seeing this, everyone was instantly dumbfounded. Gu Yunqing stood in place with a look of disbelief. Lips trembled slightly. After seeing this, Yi Qiu's eyes flashed with a hint of pride. He deliberately sighed without saying anything. Shaking his head, he turned to leave. Seeing Yi Qiu about to leave, Gu Yunqing hurriedly shouted for him to wait. "I truly apologize for any offense caused. I didn't expect that the young friend is truly remarkable. Please, young friend, lend a hand to restore this honor. This is the most precious thing of my family's young lady." At this moment, Liu Ryan's expression was complicated. He now completely believes this voice. So my feelings towards Yi Qiu are quite complicated. Although I heard that this guy did bad things, it's hard to turn against someone without evidence in hand. Now I have to repair the jade ornament that my father gave me. He could only helplessly speak up. "Mr. Yin, if you could help me fix this jade figure, I will definitely face serious consequences afterward. This is the most precious gift left to me by my father Wan. You mean a lot to me." Yi Qiu, with a face of indifference, heard these words. Her expression softened a bit as she spoke. "I didn't expect Miss Liu to be such a family-oriented person. Since that's the case, I helped with this task. I can't assist with that. Miss Liu, the items have been repaired. Please take good care of it. If there are any more questions next time, just find me." Liu Ruyan. Liu Ryan was just about to reach out to catch it. The jade figure cracked open once again. Fortunately, Liu Ruyan was quick and caught it in time. Otherwise, it will fall to the ground again. Even the gods can't save us now. After seeing this, the passers-by who had just been praising him, once again they adhered to their atmosphere group's persona. A person came in wearing a mask. EQ couldn't even be bothered to get angry with these people at this moment. He looked at the cracked jade figure in his hand. His face looked like he had taken a sip of diluted liquid. Liu Ryan reached out and took the jade figure from EQ's hand, placing it in the box. While his face was contorted in pain, he was filled with immense anger. It has come to this. He really didn't know how to fix the jade figure. But at least he knows who the murderer is. EQ stubbornly insisted on trying again. This is a great opportunity to win her affection. No matter how many times you try, it's useless. Even if it is fixed, what difference does it make? If it weren't for you deliberately sabotaging the staff, nothing much happened today. Tang Yu watching the play from the back. I chuckled to myself and started to complain. But Yi Qiu's repair failed. It's not that there's a problem with his skills. But Tang Yu learned his shameless tactics. He tampered with his repair fluid as well. After hearing the voice of the heart once again, Liu Ryan said with a dark expression, "No need. There's no point in fixing it again. If it can't be fixed, just leave it here. But I need to check it out. Why did urine fall today?" Uncle Liu, standing nearby, had a slightly grim expression, stepped out and gave himself a hard slap on the face. "It may not necessarily be your problem. The thing was handed to you by me. You clearly held it well when you received it. There must be a reason for this sudden change. Have someone check the surveillance. He already knows who the murderer is. It's just that there is no evidence." Hearing that Liu Ryan was going to check the surveillance footage, EQ didn't think too much about it. He thought this woman was just more sentimental, then turned around to say goodbye and left. Seeing EQ about to leave, Liu Ryan was certain that this guy was feeling guilty. Her tone was icy and explosive. "Wait a moment. This Mr. Yi, if I remember correctly, when I handed the box to Uncle Liu, you are right next to me. In that case, why don't we take a look at the surveillance footage together? Maybe we can find the murderer." EQ's expression darkened. A flash of anger flickered in his eyes. The man just became the villain from the novel. It ruined the male lead's chance to flirt. EQ wanted to impress the heroine, using tricks to make the store clerk drop the jade figure, thus creating a great opportunity to show off. Unexpectedly, Tang Yu also learned EQ's methods. Let her be quickly slapped in the face in front of everyone. Liu Ruyan was also inspired by Tang Yu's hint. The main culprit's target was also locked onto Yi Qiu. Liu Ruyan took Liu Shu and went to the monitoring room, played back the surveillance footage. But because Yi Qiu's speed is just too fast, it seems that I can't find any loopholes even after several attempts. Liu Ryan reluctantly muttered an apology. "I feel even more hatred for this guy in my heart." By the time she returned downstairs, "I just realized that the beautiful person has fully recovered." Liu Ryan's expression was one of surprise. At that moment, Gu Yunqing walked in. Seeing this scene, both of them widened their eyes in surprise. Liu Ryan was baffled. She went back upstairs to the monitoring room again. I just realized it was a man wearing a mask. The jade figure has been restored. After the man repaired the jade figure, he placed it back in the box, left quietly and without a sound. She hurriedly ran out of the monitoring room, chased all the way outside the shop, looked for quite a while. Only then did I realize that this mysterious man had vanished without a trace. Have someone check on his whereabouts. Find him. I want to thank him in person. Li Ru Yan gently clenched her fist. Her eyes were filled with gratitude. She has already guessed it. This person is most likely the owner of that mysterious voice. If it weren't for her reminder today, I'm afraid I've already been deceived by the soft rice prince. Tang Yu left the antique shop, feeling great and ready to find a place to eat. This time I successfully scored the reward again. There was no hatred value gained from EQ either. This made Tang Yu even more certain. This kid is now his own cash cow. This time, the reward given by the system. It is a bracelet called Facial Close-Up. Introduction to the dog system. This thing can be used once a day. Each use has a duration of 5 minutes. Able to target an enemy. Controlling the other person's tongue. Control the other person's speech. Lin dialing. Lin Huangxi was sitting on the sofa reading a book. EQ is cleaning the house with a mop. At that moment, Hu Kai-chun walked in from outside. Stepping on the freshly polished floor, I slipped. A rogue suddenly appeared on the scene. This rascal almost tore her mouth wide open. In pain, she cried out and got up, cursing loudly. Then he asked Lin Huangxi, "When are you going to kick this useless person out of the house? Can I really not hold on for even a day?" Lin Huangxi sighed and said, "Mom, let's not talk about this anymore, okay? I'm already fed up." Yesterday, 2 big orders from the company suddenly vanished. In order to prepare these 2 orders, I even specially expanded it by more than 30 people. Brought back some money from the bank again. Now it's in my hands. Lin Huangxi's eyes turned red as she spoke. She never expected to suddenly encounter such a situation. Party suddenly turned hostile and denied their previous commitments, not even giving her a reason. Seeing Lin Huangxi shed tears, EQ on the side wished he could hold her in his arms, kiss and soothe gently. But being able to push Lin Huangxi to this point, she is quite happy. In this way, as long as she solves the problem herself, she will definitely have a great transformation. So she put down the mop and walked over to comfort her. At that moment, Lin Huangxi's phone suddenly rang. She quickly glanced at her phone, then quickly connected the call. "Long time no see, President Lin. I heard that your company lost the orders from Old Lie's side. Is it okay?" A man's laughter came from the other end of the phone. The impact is significant. If Director Hu could say a few good words to Director Lai and the others. Just consider it a big favor I owe to President Hu. Lin Huangxi urgently pleaded. Hu is a well-known real estate developer in Yanjing. They are also the cash cows in the eyes of these renovation companies. Has a strong voice in the real estate industry. Mr. Hu smiled slightly on the other end of the phone. Our company has recently started a new project. If President Lin is interested, let's go out for a meal and talk. Lin Huangxi's expression became excited. Without a second thought, I agreed. But EQ's expression suddenly darkened. She silently sent a text message. The desire to show off is on the rise. Lin Huangxi hurriedly got into the car and rushed to the restaurant. EQ then rode on the little electric scooter, following behind. When they arrived at the restaurant entrance, a waiter standing by the window looked at her, quickly found EQ, who was quietly following behind. The man dressed like the main villain from the novel. I am determined to become the stumbling block on the path of the male lead. EQ wanted to win Lin Huangxi's affection, deliberately lost her company's orders. After the incident occurred, help her solve her problems and successfully increase her affection. At this moment, developer who called her to discuss the project. EQ quietly followed out to satisfy his desire to show off. When the two arrived at the restaurant entrance, Teng Yu has been waiting as a waiter for a long time. According to the system prompts plot, today is another day for EQ to show off. This old lecher named Hu Zong is trying to get Lin Huangxi to sign a contract. It came for her beauty. After the two couldn't reach an agreement at the dinner table, the happy old lecher speaks out to insult Lin Huangxi. Then EQ took action to teach this person a lesson. Another phone call, the old trick that leads to bankruptcy. After hitting the opponent's face, he helped Lin Huangxi secure another order, changed Lin Huangxi's previous view of her. A wave of good feelings surged. There's a song while you're still trying to show off. Teng Yu smiled darkly. I've already arranged today's plans in my mind. This renowned beauty of Yanjing. Indeed, she is stunning beyond compare. After the two arrived at the restaurant, a waiter approached the table. This is the disguised Teng Yu. At this moment, she looks like. He was an unremarkable young man. Have the two esteemed guests decided? Would you like me to recommend our signature dishes? Teng Yu looked at Hu Yunshin with a hint of admiration. This guy must weigh at least 200 pounds, if not 300. Even a fat pig like this has the nerve. Set your sights on Lin Huangxi. So damn disgusting. She silently complained to herself. Lin Huangxi suddenly heard Tang Yu's inner voice. A flicker of surprise and joy crossed his face. The voice I heard at Grandpa's birthday celebration has finally appeared again. Has the guardian deity always been watching over and caring for me? What does it mean to have your own ideas? Did President Wu really have bad intentions? You don't need to rush me. I am very familiar with your family. Teng Yu smiled while waiting on the side. Continued to complain in my heart. Clicking randomly. Anyway, after the points are finished later. This bowl of soup EQ will definitely splash on you. She has been squatting outside the road watching for a long time. I could just kill you right now. But neither of you is a good person. Everyone is captivated by beauty, taking advantage of Lin Huangxi's company's operational difficulties, deliberately using the official seal as an excuse at home. I want to trick Lin Huangxi into coming home with you so that it will be easier for you to act. Another person intentionally made someone lose the orders from Lin Huangxi's company, to put Lin Huangxi in the most helpless situation. Then come out and play the good person. A big order was delivered to Lin Huangxi's company. I want to prove that I'm not just a useless person who relies on others. After hearing all of this, Lin Huangxi's heart shook with a jolt. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. Hu Yunshin has ulterior motives. He didn't think much of it. If we are to talk about Yi Kyugen's situation, he really found it hard to accept in his heart. Soon, the dishes began to be served from the kitchen one by one. Hu Yunsin quickly got to the point. I explained the project requirements in detail to Lin Huangxi. Since Miss Lin has this sincerity, I also trust in the strength of your company. Let's sign the contract now. Okay. I also have the contract ready on my end. Lin Huangxi quickly took out the prepared contract from her bag and handed it to Hu Yunshin. After receiving the contract, Hu Yunshin swiftly signed his name with a pen. Then he pretended to feel the bag, then stated that they do not have a subcontracting seal. Mr. Hu can take the contract back to get it stamped. After covering it, I'll have someone go pick it up." Hu Yunshin's expression suddenly darkened. Seeing Lin Huangxi being so disrespectful, Hu Yunshin slammed the table in anger and began to curse loudly. He just shouted. EQ indeed stormed in with a dark expression. Upon seeing EQ rush in, Lin Huangxi's expression was a mix of shock and complexity. Indeed, everything is just as the guardian deity said. There won't be any mistakes at all. EQ was furious. Charging forward, he knocked Hu Yanshin to the ground with a single punch. Tang Yu, who was watching the show from a distance. I quietly captured this moment with my phone. He smiled as he quickly edited the video on his phone. Then the video showed EQ suddenly confronting various abuses and bullying after knocking someone to the ground. After finishing the editing, Tang Yusi pondered for a moment. Decide on a title. A kind-hearted uncle discovers a pickpocket stealing from the restaurant. After exposing the pickpocket, I was instead knocked to the ground by the thief. This is the price of doing good deeds. The man dressed as the villain from the novel to unlock the storyline rewards. Constantly ruining the male lead's chance to show off. At this moment, EQ was following the plan. Step on Hu Yunshin, who wants to open a game. It has begun, it has begun. Here we go again with the pretentiousness. Next, it's time to please Lin Huangxi. Arrange a big order for him. Then he asked you where the order came from. You just said you saved a big shot. Someone owes you a favor. This kind of pressure is also faked. You still won't expose your strength. Lin Huangxi heard the voice of the guardian spirit once again. A warmth filled my heart once more. He was completely disappointed in EQ, this worthless person. At this moment, his phone rang. This is a call from a real estate company in Yanjing. We need to collaborate with his company on a major project. His response was very simple after the conversation. That means rejecting the other party's cooperation. He doesn't need EQ's charity. EQ was smiling, ready to take credit. I was surprised to hear that my wife refused to collaborate with the other party. The change in events exceeded his expectations, caught him off guard. EQ felt a tightness in his heart at this moment. At that moment, suddenly the sound of police sirens echoed outside. A squad of police burst in from outside with great intensity, straight to EQ. The leading police officer saw Hu Yunshin kneeling on the ground. Instantly, his expression darkened as he pulled out handcuffs to restrain EQ. After Tang Yu's video was forwarded by King Ming, it has already climbed to the trending list. Major social media platforms have also shared this news. With an expression of anger, EQ was quickly handcuffed and taken away. Kneeling on the ground with a face full of despair, Hu Yanshin was sent to the hospital for treatment. Before he was taken away, Tang Yu was not polite with him either, stabbing this guy in the butt with a poisoned needle. In this way, he was in for a big misfortune after going to the hospital. At this moment, I won't die. But in this lifetime, you can never stand up again. After both were taken away, Lin Huangxi sat in the chair, tears silently streaming down her face, looking helpless. He really doesn't know what to do anymore. Ah, what a pitiful woman. Ming has such a good personality, beautiful and capable. Why is fate so full of obstacles? Forget it. Find a way to help him through the tough times. But we can't just give him the orders for free. He still needs to prove his ability to make money through his own skills. Tang Yu sighed deeply in his heart from afar. After turning away from the restaurant, he dialed Zhu Ganghao's number on his phone. I greeted him and asked him to handle this matter. Lin Huangxi heard Tang Yu's thoughts once again. With tears in his eyes, he immediately looked up and glanced around. Her beautiful face was filled with gratitude and surprise. Then his phone rang again. After the call is connected, this time he did not refuse, gladly accepted this somewhat challenging order. This is the blessing and help from the guardian deity, and without any purpose. He had no reason to refuse. After finishing the conversation with General Ju on the phone, he tentatively asked a question. "Juzong, may I know why your company suddenly chose to approach our small company? Did someone say nice things about me?" After asking, his heart began to race, feeling extremely nervous. This question left Zhu Ganghao in silence. Tang Xiao just gave himself an order: prevent himself from revealing his identity, but always giving silently without revealing their identity. How can I attract a girl? So he thought for a moment and decided to go. I thought of a compromise solution. "Miss Lin, I cannot reveal his identity. Please be understanding." Lin Huixi replied with a choked voice. This time he cried tears of excitement. It turns out that the guardian deity is a real person. After returning to the room, I pondered for a long time. Finally, I called a few of my friends, asked them about the real estate situation. In the end, he finally learned. Behind the real estate is the Tang family from Suzhou and Hangzhou. Tang family? Is it that Tang Xiao from the banquet that day? Lin Huixi's pupils constricted, instantly locking the target onto Tang Yu. It won't be wrong. He came to the banquet with General Zhu, and I myself also after the banquet started, just heard the voice of the guardian deity. At this moment, he is recalling Tang's incredibly handsome face. A sense of closeness suddenly blossomed in my heart. After leaving the restaurant, Tang Yu silently recited, "Dog system. What about the reward? The reward comes from the battle." This technique is a passive skill. After throwing a punch, the next two punches can deal equal damage. And the punching speed increased threefold. Use an interval of 10 minutes. After obtaining this technique, Tang Yu was quite satisfied. Once you strike out with a deliberate punch. Next, I can throw 2 more deliberate punches. In this way, even if we encounter someone at the mid-level of the Tianzi mirror now, Tang Yu also has the confidence to unleash a burst and smash the opponent's head. The man dressed as the villain from the novel. He successfully sent the male lead to the police station. Yi Qiu, with a gloomy expression, walked out of the police station alongside Butler Yi. This wouldn't have blown up to such an extent. Yi Bu, you felt a headache coming on just thinking about it. You suspect that someone is intentionally causing trouble from behind. Yi Qiu minutely sensed the problem. He said that recently everything has been going wrong. It seems that someone is deliberately causing trouble. After returning to Wuji Group by car, Yi Guanjie then began to have someone conduct an investigation. The time for 2 cups of tea. The information he wanted has come out. EQ quickly took the document and glanced at it. The information shows. During this time, it was Yan Jinhang's family who helped Liu Shufen with that matter. The Han family was one of the families involved in the massacre of the Yi family. He will also be the target of his revenge in the future. But compared to the Han family, his gaze landed on another real estate company. What's going on with this real estate? Today, Madame Xiao rejected Yi Xiao's help. This company gave Mrs. Xiao an order. I found out that this company is not simple. Behind them is the Su Hangtang family. When Butler Yi mentioned the Su Hangtang family, face filled with murderous intent, quickly explained what had happened in Suzhou and Hangzhou over the past 6 months. Yi Qiu's expression darkened, compared to the old man losing his grip in Suzhou and Hangzhou. What angers him even more is the matter concerning the Yang family. 6 years ago, Yi Xiao attempts to take revenge on the family involved in the massacre of the Yi family. The first target he set his sights on was the Yang family, far away in Mingju. I came into contact with the young lady of the Yang family, Yang Jialan, who was still in university at the time, according to Yi Xiao's plan. He plans to take down Yang Jialan and then seize the entire Yang family as revenge against them. Later, it was noticed by Yang Jialan's father, interrupted Yi Xiao's plan. They even investigated Yi Xiao's identity. After the temporary failure of his plan, Yi Xiao returned to Yanjing, transformed into the soft rice king of Yanjing. After throwing a tantrum, EQ also calmed down. He suddenly remembered the birthday banquet from a few days ago. The man who came to flirt with my wife. Isn't this the person who came with the head of Day Real Estate? He also has the surname Tang. It must be him. This person is quite extraordinary. EQ originally harbored murderous intent towards this person, just in time to settle old scores with the heart. Yi Xiao, you need to hide your identity. It's not difficult to kill him. But first, we need to investigate the secrets he holds. I have already asked someone to handle this matter. Butler Yi quickly advised. 2 minutes later, there was a knock on the office door. A handsome and graceful young man appeared immediately, walked in from outside. The young man is a handsome mixed-race guy. There is an air of nobility about them, as if a prince had stepped out of the European royal family. This is the leader who ranks first on the hit list, has sat firmly at the top of the assassin rankings for a full 10 years. Captain, you are Ji Jai, right? EQ smiled and shook hands with the other person. He had long heard about this person's background. The other party hails from the Night Organization, skilled in various assassinations. The Queen on the assassins list also emerged from the Night. It is said that the leader in first place and the Queen in second place. Two people want to kill someone. EQ shook his head and said, not to kill. I want to investigate the secrets he carries before killing. Ji Jai's lips curled up slightly. I will complete this task first. Let's discuss the collaboration with the two of you again. The Dark Knight Organization operates throughout Asia. Now they want to expand to these places in Europe. We definitely need the Dragon Soul Organization to help make the connections. Want to achieve great success. It's essential to gather support. The power of this underground world is absolutely essential. Iguanjia hesitated for a moment before reminding. By the way, Yi Xiao, the young lady from the Yang family, has recently come to Yanjing. EQ suddenly had a gleam in his eyes. A wicked smile appeared. This side, just as Tang Yu was lying on the bed playing on his phone, a figure effortlessly climbed the wall like a gecko, climbed onto Tang Yu's bedroom balcony. The Queen pulled out a gleaming dagger. The eyes were filled with anticipation and excitement. After deliberately restraining his presence, she crawled under the curtain and slipped inside, suddenly lunged at Tang Yu with the knife. As expected, this strike failed to wound Tang Yu, blocked outside by an invisible barrier. The man dressed like the villain from the novel, just successfully gotten through a plot, once again entangled with the assassin queen. Just as Tang Yu was happily scrolling through short videos, the queen lunged forward with the knife. Tang Yu came to his senses and blocked the punch. He kicked her against the wall. Then he jumped off the bed and stepped on the queen's foot. I'm really fed up with this woman who's gone completely crazy. God bestowed a shower of wisdom upon the world. She probably got dumped, eavesdropping on Tang Yu's thoughts. The queen was so excited she nearly fainted. Feeling completely energized and full of strength, thinking and thinking, Tang Yu suddenly felt a bit hungry. I want to go eat something. She smiled mischievously. Press a specific acupoint heavily on the queen's shoulder. The queen's inner energy couldn't circulate at all. My strength has been drained quite a lot. I accidentally twisted my ankle while kicking you. I don't want to walk right now. So you carried me downstairs. We still need to sing the theme song of Journey to the West on the Way. The queen's eyes sparkled. Is this treating yourself like horse dung? While Tang Yu was having a meal, he saw Zai. The queen hurriedly fled, as the second-ranked top assassin on the killer list. Only a very few people know that the queen comes from the Dark Knight organization. The headquarters of the Dark Knight organization is located deep in the mountains on the outskirts of Yanjing. To ensure the secrecy of the organization's headquarters, they bought up all the nearby hills. The internal forces are mainly two prominent families. They are from the Ji family and the royal family. He is the most outstanding representative of the royal young generation. The most outstanding member of the Ji family is the captain ranked first on the assassin leaderboard. The queen had just sat down after returning home. A handsome man rushed over. It was Ji Jai, who had previously collaborated with Yi Qiu Tan. Xiao Yun, you haven't been back for a while. How have things been outside recently? The assassin queen's real name is Huang Xiaoyan. Ji Jai sat beside Huang Xiaoyan with a gentle smile. Like the transformation treasure, take out one precious item after another. But seeing the flawless, elegant smile on Ji Jai's face, the noble aura radiating from every gesture and movement, he felt utterly disgusted. Huang Sankyu, Huang Xiaoyan's father, came over. Smiling, I patted Ji Jai's shoulder and asked, "How is the cooperation with the Dragon Soul organization going?" "Very smooth. I'll deal with one person for them first. Get rid of this person. Cooperation is easy to talk about." Jeji took out a document and placed it on the table. Huang Xiaoyan is not concerned about the organization's development. As he was about to get up and leave, he casually glanced over. Their expression subtly changed. The document on the table. It turns out to be sugar fish. Can I take a look at this document? Huang Sakyu was very pleased with his daughter's attitude. Thought he finally understood those things. Quickly handed him the documents in hand. After carefully reviewing the materials, a flash of anger flickered in Huang Xiaoyan's eyes. Quickly hid again. Who is the fool daring to covet him? He looked up and asked coldly, "Whose request is this?" "Two will set the course during the period of giving. These important details are quietly remembered in the heart." Then spoke, "You cannot take action against this person. He is my target. If someone has to die, it can only be me who does it. I won't allow others to take my prey. Keji will naturally strive to meet all the demands of the woman he loves. He also trusts his fiancée's abilities. Unwittingly persecuted another victim, Tang Yu. Right now I am treating Yang Yilan." After the end, Tang Yu discovered something on his phone. Someone sent themselves an anonymous text message. "EQ wants to hire a killer to deal with you. I still need to investigate the secrets you hold. Please be extra careful." After seeing this message, Tang Yu couldn't help but exclaim, "EQ, that idiot." This is where I found myself. After a brief moment of thought, it's mostly because he found out that Zhu Ganghao had sent the order to Lin Huingxi, and I was originally the top target on the Dragon Soul organization's kill list. It's normal to trace back and find out the truth. Fortunately, I'm really skilled at disguise. Tang Yu secretly felt grateful in her heart. But compared to who sent this message, what puzzles him more now is that Yang Jilan's illness has not been cured. This is probably caused by some emotional knot. Cannot resolve this emotional knot. His illness will never get better unless you use another crude and simple method. Make him fall deeply in love with oneself. It's considered a form of alternative therapy. But this way, his personality will become a sickly character. Generally, this kind of illness is caused by emotional wounds. He didn't say anything the last few times I asked him. There must be some hidden truth. The man dressed as the villain from the novel just successfully captured the heart of the assassin queen. I began to feel a headache from Yang Jilan's obsession with handsome men. He is almost fully recovered from his illness now, but it was not completely cured. The reason is due to a certain emotional knot. But Teng Yu is really not very clear. What exactly did Yang Jilan go through in the past? Just as Teng Yu was pondering whether to make a phone call, when asking his father, Yang Jillian has already come down from upstairs. She glanced at the villa's floor-to-ceiling windows. After thinking for a moment, I spoke up. Let's go for a walk. Teng Yu stands up from the sofa. Also plan to take this opportunity. Ask Yang Jilan about her feelings. After the two sat on the outdoor bed, Teng Yu straightforwardly asked, "Have you ever had a failed relationship in the past?" Yang Jilan fell silent upon hearing this. His expression became somewhat complicated. Teng Yu saw this and didn't continue to ask. She leaned against the boat, slowly drifting in the lake, hummed softly the tune of Mercury's Tale. Yang Jilan listened for a moment. Close your eyes and immerse yourself in this song, understanding the subtle sadness beneath the lyrics. After the candy fish finishes singing, she remained still with her eyes closed. The moonlight spilled over her stunningly beautiful face. After hesitating for a moment, Teng Yu quickly grasped her meaning. She brought her face closer, a little closer to those tempting lips. At the moment of imminent contact, Yang Jilin suddenly pushed Teng Yu with force. Then she squatted down, hugging her knees, and broke down in tears. The sugarfish took 2 steps back, eyes wide open, shocked by Yang Jilan's intense reaction. She could see that Yang Jillian had completely broken down emotionally. She quickly reached out and pressed an acupoint on Yang Jilan's body. Help her stabilize her emotions in this way. After squatting on the ground and crying for a while, Yang Jilan has finally improved a bit. At this moment, she didn't feel so resistant to sharing this memory. 6 years ago, she was still in college. One day during the holiday, she went out to play on the streets. She encountered several kidnappers who wanted to abduct her. As the daughter of the richest man in Mingju, she naturally has bodyguards by her side. But this time, several skilled bodyguards were no match for the kidnappers. Just at the moment she was about to be kidnapped, a man came out to save her. The man was hospitalized for a long time due to serious injuries. That's how I got to know the man. The two people began to make small connections. She went from liking him to admiring him, began to develop feelings for each other, until later, when her father found out about this, forcefully broke them apart. When I find that man later on, the other party has already married another woman. This incident dealt her a significant blow. Eventually, step by step, self-isolation evolved into aversion syndrome. After listening to this extremely melodramatic story, Teng Yu indeed discovered the problem. She asked, "Have you ever thought about it? From the moment you met this man." It's one of her subordinates' departments. Yang Jilan's face showed a hint of shock and confusion. There are no such coincidences in the world. Who would risk their life to save a stranger woman just for the sake of it? After that, we coincidentally met several times, and I was able to help you again. Because Yang Jilan did not mention the name, she didn't know that the man was EQ, who had plotted against the Yang family years ago. But so many coincidences are strung together. Tang Yu could only believe that this melodramatic story was a conspiracy from beginning to end. Yang Jilan's face turned pained and she began to cry, when suddenly realizing that years of obsession might have been a mistake. This was something she found hard to accept. Tang Yu no longer said anything more, directly activated the Eye of Soul shooting. This is the moment when Yang Jilan's spirit is at its weakest. Tang Yu began to brainwash her, let her slowly let go of the obsessions in her heart, convinced that this was a trap set by the other party. After the brainwashing of the soul-shooting eye is completed, Yang Jilan's emotions had clearly stabilized. She stared at Tang Yu for a while and then said softly, "Thank you for telling me these things. I know what to do now." After Yang Jilan was treated, Tang Yu's mood also became much lighter. Since receiving the real estate order, Lin Huangxi has been staying at the company almost all the time lately. I might as well eat and sleep here. Just finished a meeting with the company staff. Lin Huangxi received a message from his father. The old gentleman wants to invite everyone to dinner. She guessed she would probably have to introduce herself to some wealthy young master again. Just go and deal with it casually. Lin Shengxi hung up the phone, dancing with joy at home. Dad just called. Let Huangxi attend a dinner gathering. It seems we are having dinner with the Wei family. EQ, who was cleaning the room, perked up his ears upon hearing this. A trace of coldness flickered in his eyes. The head of the Wei family, Wei Yangcheng, was known for his love of good food and beautiful women. Please invite your wife over for this meal. Clearly, they had ulterior motives. Then rode the little electric scooter silently to follow. The man dressed as the villain from the novel. Just treated Yang Jillian after Yan Nan's incident. Just received the system's plot prologue. Once again, using divine disguise techniques to change appearance. Became a waiter in the shop. Prepare for the male lead, Huo Huo, according to the system's spoiler plot. Today, the Lin family is filled with worries. Invite Wei Yangcheng, who has a cliché nickname, to come here for dinner. They even spent a large sum to hire a chef, just to make sure he eats well. Apart from this, they also called Lin Huangxi to come and drink. Let them eat and drink happily. At that time, with the strength of the Wei family, just a little effort would suffice. The Lin family can take off in a big wave. EQ was naturally unwilling to accept this. While causing trouble and ruining the Lin family's good fortune, also helped Lin Huangxi out of trouble, winning the favor of the beautiful Bode. As Tang Yu was pondering these plot lines, the Lin family finally arrived. The elder of the Lin family, Lin Tiancheng, stood at the door. After waiting for about 10 minutes, a luxury car stopped at the entrance of the restaurant. Lin Tiancheng's legs suddenly became agile. He quickly jogged over to help pull open the car door. Quickly called Lin Huangxi over to say hello. "Hello, Grandpa Wei." "Oh dear. According to the family hierarchy, I should call him Grandpa. But it feels like I've aged a lot, ha. Can this old man have some dignity? I still call you old. Shameless thing. Today, for the innocent Huangxi sister. Let you eat shit." Tang Yu, standing by the window, saw the disgusting sneer. Shaking his head, he began to complain inwardly. Lin Huangxi, feeling down, suddenly hears Tang Yu's inner thoughts. Suddenly I widened my eyes and looked around. His eyes shimmered with admiration, feeling extremely excited, as a group of people was about to enter the restaurant. EQ, riding his little electric scooter, just arrived. Today his plan is very simple. The old lecher who removes the fishy smell. Turn him into a pawn in your hands. As for the Lin family, just wait to be slapped in the face later. He walked into the restaurant. Soon the hotel's general manager came out. Came with the general manager. There is still the night butler. Give me a new chef's outfit. I will go to the kitchen to cook soon. EQ said calmly. He knows very well that Wei Yangcheng is a glutton. I came here on purpose to cook myself. First, conquer him with your cooking skills. After becoming friends, I will gradually fulfill this old man's wishes. Finally, let him completely fall out with Liu Ruyan. At that time, secretly help Liu Ryan deal with this old man. The plan to reclaim the Liu and Wei families has been completed. In the most luxurious private room of the restaurant, the Lin family members have already taken their seats with Wei Yangcheng. Wei Yangcheng was arranged in the main seat. Lin Tiancheng invited Lin Huanxi to sit beside him. After finishing the dishes, Wei Yangcheng handed the menu to Tang Yu, who was disguised as a waiter. He ordered more than 20 dishes in total. The first dish of the meal is Jiu Juan Da Chang. This dish is his favorite. According to today's plot, EQ won his favor by conquering his stomach with this dish. Yet EQ's culinary skills are so high, in addition to the experience accumulated from cooking at home for years. It also cannot be separated from the special spices he added to the dish. Tang Yu's eyes lit up. He is a top expert in his field, the big shot who has handled the state banquet multiple times. The Lin family sought to invite him to come out of retirement. This time, no expense has been spared. At that moment, EQ, dressed in a chef's outfit, walked in from outside. He glanced at Master He, who had already started cooking. A trace of disdain flickered in his eyes. Let 2 kitchen staff assist me. He also started preparing to make Jiu Juan Da Chang. Tang Yu originally wanted to take the opportunity to strike, but to be cautious, I can only go to the kitchen next door and get busy. Isn't it just 9 turns intestines? Who wouldn't know that? Tang Yu took out his phone and opened the video tutorial he had prepared earlier. I started following the video step by step after plating the 9-turn large intestine. Tang Yu ran to the kitchen where EQ and the others were. Master He and EQ are about to finish now. Tang Yu quickly pushed the delivery cart, put his plate of Jiajuan Dacheng below, then ran into the kitchen where the 2 were. Is the 9 turns intestine ready? The esteemed guest in the Osmanthus private room is urging. Master He placed the freshly cooked Jiu Juan Da Chang on the delivery cart. EQ also handed the finished product to Tang Yu. Tang Yu chuckled, quickly pushed the delivery cart, and left the kitchen. Pushed the delivery cart quickly to the door of the private room. Tang Yu quickly swapped EQ's 9 turns intestines with his own. The man dressed like the villain from the novel, to grind for storyline rewards. Only the constant failures hinder the male protagonist's path of transformation. EQ wanted to stand out at the dinner hosted by the Lin and Wei families. Thus, he made Wei Yangcheng's favorite dish, Jiu Juan Da Chang. Unexpectedly, this was secretly swapped by Tang Yu. Tang Yu walked into the private room, placed 2 servings of Jiu Juan Da Chang on the table. I saw that 2 servings of 9 turns intestine were served, and it's still different. Wei Yangcheng laughed and teased. Did I get on the wrong one? Be careful, we ate 2 bowls but only paid for 1. Not mistaken. This was personally made by Master He. This was made by Master Yi. EQ slowly walked in from outside the private room and said with a smile, this 9-turn large intestine dish was made by me. Spent several years honing my culinary skills at home. This is my best dish. After seeing him enter, the faces of the neighbors darkened. Wei Yangcheng extended his chopsticks and first picked up the 9 turns intestines made by Master He. He is extremely obsessed with this dish. After so many years of eating, I can tell the taste just by looking at its appearance. Why Yancheng chewed a couple of times before. With a heavy slap on the table, he spat out in anger. Is master he getting old and losing his sense of taste? Damn it, words don't cost money. After scolding, I picked up the tea and started rinsing my mouth vigorously. Seeing Wai Yancheng's reaction, EQ smiled slightly in his heart. Just now, while I was cooking in the kitchen, he realized that the old guy from the letter indeed had some skills, although I can definitely win against him. But to be on the safe side, he still secretly made a move. The neighbors turned pale with fear. They all know that Wai Yancheng has a bit of a temper. One of the things he despises the most. It was just eating the unappetizing jiajuan dache, without waiting for others to speak. EQ pointed to the plate of jiajuan dajang he made and smiled. Mr. Y might as well give my dish a try. It will definitely surprise you. After hearing him say this, the neighbors finally realized. Now they seemed to have no choice but to place their hopes on this useless person. The neighbors all changed their tune. They began to praise EQ. The Doms next door are really disgusting. If we can't calm Wai Yanchen down, they will probably force Lin Huangxi to sleep with Wai Yancheng. Tang Yu silently complained while watching the show. After he finished his complaint, Lin Huangxi's gaze immediately fixed on Tang Yu. At this moment, there is only Tang Yu serving in the private room. At this moment, Tang Yu is wearing a mask. So he could only see Tang Yu's deep-set eyes through the mask. Wai Yancheng picked up a piece of jiajuan dacheng and put it in his mouth. I began to savor it carefully. This time, the flavor truly did not disappoint him. Just gently biting the jiajuan dacheng, the juice inside and some strange things. It blossomed on his tongue. Then his expression began to change. After these particles melted on his tongue, a faint odor of fish began to spread. Immediately, this flavor burst like a grand explosion on the taste buds. The foul smell instantly intensified 1,000-fold. Finally, Wai Yang returned to his senses as his soul found its place. A roar erupted from the throat. A mass of vomit erupted from his mouth like a cannonball, just as it sprayed right on Lin Tiancheng's face in an attempt to please. At this moment, Yiqiu looked puzzled. What the hell is going on? He picked up a piece with his chopsticks and chewed it in his mouth. Then his taste buds exploded as well. A foul odor that defies description spread in his mouth. At the moment, he instinctively wanted to spit it out. The Tang Yu standing next to him touched the bracelet on his hand. Activate the facial close-up ability. After receiving this reward, Tang Yu discovered that this ability was not limited by time alone. It is also limited by distance. It must be activated within 10 meters to be effective. After starting up, Tang Yu has completely taken over his mouth now. He turned and took 2 steps back to retreat to the door, turning away from the crowd to avoid being found out. Then he chewed vigorously. EQ was about to collapse. He sadly discovered that his mouth was completely out of control. High-quality ingredients must emphasize their original flavors. Only a chef who doesn't understand the craft. Only then will the essence in the pig intestines be removed. To be honest, after taking a bite of the original flavored pig intestine, I'm really high right now. After swallowing the pig intestines, EQ started shouting loudly again. After hearing what this guy shouted, everyone gasped in disbelief. She looked at him with disbelief. The man dressed as the villain from the novel. At the dinner, the male lead's guts were spilled, while Yang Cheng ate the plain pig intestines. Once again, they suffered provocation from Yi Qiu. This time, my face turned green with anger. He glared at the 2 bodyguards behind him. At this moment, Yi Qiu realized. rushed towards Tang Yu. At this moment Tang Yu is the only outsider in the private room. He has already guessed that he is out of control. I'm afraid it has something to do with this guy. Noticing this guy's movements, Tang Yu hurriedly opened the private room door and slipped away. EQ still wanted to chase after. The two bodyguards from the Wei family rushed up to block him. He was just about to strike decisively, suddenly remembered that I still couldn't reveal my identity. So he could only suppress his strength and endure, deliberately pretending to only be able to defend weakly. Suddenly there was a counterattack. Instantly subdued the two bodyguards on the ground. EQ spoke. "Mr. Wei, your Wei family is facing imminent disaster. Why threaten me? No fair. The family business that the Wei family worked so hard to build. In the end, it was all for the benefit of outsiders. But I have a way to solve your problem. It all depends on your sincerity." He has thoroughly investigated Wei Yangcheng's information. He knows what he desires the most right now. Wei Yangcheng's gaze shifted slightly. "There is a slight pain in my chest." No air. This is indeed his heart's pain. At this moment, Butler Yi, who had been waiting outside for a long time, came in. After seeing Butler Yi, Wei Yangcheng quickly recalled the identity of this person. Yibu, the head of Wuji Group. After walking in, Yibu and EQ seamlessly began acting together. As the head of a trillion-dollar conglomerate, come forward to guarantee for EQ. Prove that he is indeed skilled in medicine. After undergoing treatment, Wei Yangcheng's old face broke into a smile. If he guessed correctly, this soft rice prince named Yi is probably here to take advantage of the situation. Could it be that the Yi family is about to make a comeback? The comeback has arrived, if that's really the case. It's not a bad thing for him. After doing bad things, Tang Yu had already run faster than a dog, jumped out of the window on the second floor of the restaurant to escape. He ran to a deserted place with a chuckle. Once again, it transformed back to its original form. The only thing that Tang Yu was dissatisfied with was EQ was quite intelligent. Surprisingly, they reacted quickly and almost caught themselves. After getting back in the car, Tang Yu silently recited in her heart after starting the car. Dog system. What about the reward? The host successfully survived the storyline. Rewarding the completion of cultivation inspires the technique. Just poor quality. He carefully captured a picture in his mind.